They keep saying, we're going to be targeted by Iran. We got to fight back. We, like they speak in French. But baby, trust me, we will not be targeted, because if anything, they know their target is the bloodthirsty rich men. But just in case y'all don't believe me, let's talk about the unique and historical relationship between Black Americans and Iran. Let's get into it. And if you've made it this far in the video, please just try to keep an open mind. I know unlearning everything we've been taught is very hard, but stick with me, because this is not a conspiracy theory. It's a proven fact. And to understand it, we got to go all the way back to 1979, when they overthrew the brutal U.S.-backed dictator Shah Pahlavi. And if that name sounds familiar, it's because his son Reza Pahlavi is all over the news cheering on the U.S. and Israel bombing Iranian schools. But anyway, in 1979, Iranian revolutionaries stormed the U.S. embassy in Tehran and took more than 60 people hostage. The situation lasted 444 days, and when they released people, they released Black people and women first. And you're probably thinking, why would Iran do that? Well, the Ayatollah at the time said that he saw us as an oppressed group of people in America, and he didn't hold us hostage because he said that we were probably sent to Iran against our will or were victims of the U.S. government. News reports at the time, including a broadcast by ABC's Peter Jennings, confirmed that Iran's leadership was planning to release women and Black hostages to show that their problem was not with us, it was with the U.S. government. Now, our relationship didn't even end there either. After the Iranian Revolution, Iran issued a national postage stamp featuring Malcolm X, and at the time, it was the first stamp in the world to honor him. The United States wouldn't even release its own Malcolm X stamp for another 15 years. And for many, this was a clear sign that Iran wanted to link its own revolution with the global struggle against racism and imperialism. And they did. And of course, the relationship is complicated. Many Iranian students and activists in America during the 1960s and 70s actually worked side by side with Black student groups like the Black Student Union to protest the U.S. government's support for the former Shah of Iran. They found common ground in fighting against what is a common enemy at this point, right? U.S. imperialism abroad and discrimination at home. So what was a complicated relationship wasn't that complicated because we had the same enemy. And you're probably thinking, well, that was 30, 40 years ago. No, there's some present day examples too. Like in 2014, after Mike Brown was shot, the Ayatollah at the time was making statements about the oppression of Black people in America. In 2020, after George Floyd was murdered, he did the same thing. Iran's leadership frequently talked about the oppression of Black people here in America and called out our system of racist policing. So again, their beef is not with us. Never has been, never will be. And yes, the Iranian government has made similar statements about other oppressed groups as well. But this video is for us, by us, okay? But anyway, you know who they are mad at? Them people at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue Northwest that keep bombing their countries every couple of years. So again,
well, my kids came home and they said that they had already signed their paperwork to join the Army. I tried to talk them out of it, but it was too late. They wanted a greater purpose. They didn't want to go to college and get a bunch of debt to be a teacher. So they enlisted. Today is my rest day after my slow 10 miles yesterday. But the only thing I can do is get outside, find some fresh air, and pray for peace.
Listen to what Donald Trump just said about our American heroes who lost their lives in Iran.
We grieve for the true American patriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice, and sadly, there will likely be more. Before it ends, that's the way it is.
That's just the way it is, really? Let's see you send Baron Trump into war.
Give us your overall view on why you're against this.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Megan, and I completely agree with everything you said in your intro. I'd also like to point out that X is saturated in bots as well, and paid social media influencers who just echo whatever their money tells them to say, the money that they're getting paid for. And so I think that just like our media has been...
Something interesting is still happening, and I think it's right now coming to the attention of the world. There is a huge relationship between Black Americans and Iranians, and I think this is so much historical than even I ever knew. In a recent video, I saw there is a part of history that shows when Iran had issues with the United States, because for the longest time, this is a pattern that has been going on for a long time. So when I saw the video and I saw that we have all those Iranians that released Black Americans in Iran and left other group of people. This is because that there is shared part between Black Americans and Iranians that over time It has proven that Iranians have no problem with black Americans. And even in a recent video when, people are so much worried, how about black people who have gone to work on, all these places? How about black Americans? What's the fate of them in regards to what's happening in America? Bear in mind that majority of the decisions that were made, probably we are seeing Trump as a problem, as a person who is getting into a problem and is putting America into a fight that Americans themselves don't want. It is a fight that black Americans don't want to get in, but it's making black Americans Americans generally get into the fight. So this is what is happening. Since majority of white Americans voted for Mr. Donald Trump, and even the world knows that right now. Iranians know that right now. And what they're saying is that we don't have a problem with black people. If today something happens, we know the people, the group of people that we have a problem with. But black Americans are not our enemies. Well, in fact, there is a part of history that shows that the Iranian government or the Iranian military somehow released black Americans. This is a fight that was between Iran and US back in early 90s. Amongst the thing that happens. So brothers and sisters, while I was watching this video, it was really a great news to hear, enlightening news. And so brothers and sisters, I want us to watch this video and then I'm gonna be back and then we'll be having a discussion in regards to this. Brothers and sisters, I'm your host and presenter, Jidok Stories, and I appreciate your time. I appreciate for those who are always supporting me, coming back, watching my videos. Man, I'm really, really grateful for the support that you all are giving me. But until then, let's watch the video. I'll be back.
Nothing but propaganda for as long as you and I can remember. I think social media has turned into the same thing. What I do know is most Americans, and it's being proved in polling that's coming out, most Americans are completely against this war because, like you said, the president has made no case for it. We live our ordinary lives and we don't feel threatened by Iran. We don't walk around thinking that in any moment an Iranian ballistic missile is going to land on our head. We don't. Here's what Americans, and I want to read off this list. This is what Americans are focused on. 72% of Americans can't afford health insurance. 58% of Americans can't afford car insurance. 67% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. 31% of Americans can't afford their back taxes. 50% of Americans are in credit card debt, massive credit card debt. That's where we are in America. And I campaigned with the president. As a matter of fact, I was one of the only Republicans that was out there for Donald Trump when the rest of the neocons, by the way, that are just cheering him on now, had abandoned him and were trying to beat him in a primary and stop him from being president again. I was out there on the front lines for Make America Great Again. And Make America Great Again was supposed to be America first, not Israel first, not any foreign country first, not any foreign people first, but the American people first in our problems. And God bless the Iranian people. I hope to God that they can have a government that is for them and that treats women fairly. But what we have seen happen right now is we have seen over 100 little girls killed at a school from a bomb. And I don't know whose bomb it was, but they're dead today because America and Israel attacked Iran. So that's not really good for Iranian women. And our president is saying that the Iranian people are all of a sudden going to topple their regime. Well, I don't think the Iranian people are going to be toppling their regime when they're getting blown apart by the United States and Israel in an unprovoked attack. And yes, it was unprovoked. And Pete Hegseth said this morning, Megan, he said that we didn't start this war. But I hate to argue with the Secretary of the Department of War. America and Israel definitely started this war, and you can't lie that away to the American people.
I'm a military spouse, and yesterday my post went viral. I was expecting hate comments, as one does. This country is so divided, so of course I expected some along the way. However, this one is disgusting. I wasn't even going to give this person the attention they were so badly seeking. However, I feel like that'd be doing a disservice to so many military members and military families. So I want the right people to do their thing. So go ahead and blow this up.
Because what you mean, have you seen this viral video? So Israel starts wars and arrogantly not expect retaliation. And when retaliation happens, they have no place for their citizens. So they leave their own citizens out to dry. Here's where this gets worse and kind of on par. The United States stepped in and is trying to find a way to send jets to Israel to pick up their citizens to bring to the U.S. for safety. Your tax dollars are funding Israel in two ways. They're giving money to support the war, and now they're using your tax dollars to fund planes to bring them to your country, through which they'll now have to be taken care of by your tax dollars. I'm not surprised. Ironically, the U.S. is about to get hit with a huge wave of undocumented immigrants.
My thought originally was, it's about time.
Brenda May says she's watched the bombs drop on Iran on TV and felt a sense of comfort and closure.
I'm not ashamed of it. I mean, we had to do what we had to do to protect the American people. And people like my son and many others that passed in the beginning of the Iraqi conflict, war, whatever you want to call it, it makes us parents, family members feel like they did not die for nothing.
Her son, Marine Staff Sergeant Donald May Jr., was the first Virginian to die in Iraq in March of 2003 when the tank he was riding in fell into the Euphrates River.
Really tired that thinking that maybe my son died for nothing. But with President Trump, I have full confidence in him. And to me, it's not a war, it's payback.
We know that our military is second to none.
Democratic Senator Mark Warner, a member of the bipartisan Gang of Eight, was made aware of Operation Epic Fury and escalation. He disagrees with the attacks that Israeli and American troops have unleashed on Iran.
We need to make sure there is a clear purpose. Usually, when there's a strike, it's in reaction to something. In this case, having seen the intelligence, there is no imminent threat to our country.
The Trump administration's push against the Ayatollah's rule is tied to a mix of strategic and ideological factors. Trump sees Iran as a security threat because of missiles, nuclear concerns, support for proxy militias, and terrorist groups.
It's a whole lot of countries that are quietly helping the United States and Israel because Iran has been a bully in the region for so long, and they've attacked people through proxies for a long time. In fact, the Straits of Hormuz, I think 20% of the world's energy flows through there, and every time they shut it down or block it or call something, it impacts the whole world.
So I'm just driving to work, and I'm getting so emotional just thinking about how close we're getting to a free Iran and how close I am to putting my parents on a plane back to their home country for the first time in 50 years for my mom and 44 years for my dad. So my mom came before the revolution in 1972 because her father realized that something was going to happen in a few years, and it did. And then my dad came in 1981 after the revolution. But if you're a child of immigrants from Iran, just imagine the tears coming down your parents' faces when they get on that plane back to Iran, and then when they land. And just imagine how the whole airplane is going to feel. It's going to be dancing, cheering, crying, and then just picture what it's going to be like walking through the airport and then stepping out of the airport and watching your parents breathe the air of Iran for the first time in decades. We're getting so close, and my parents did so much for me. You know, they came here to give me a better life. And I can't wait to do this for them now. And we're getting so close. And it's unfortunate that we don't have the same activism behind this as we do for other issues in the Middle East. But the people of Iran, I truly feel now, will be able to do this without U.S. intervention. And I just keep thinking about the moment that my parents will be able to step foot on Iranian soil again. And I can bring my children there, and we'll all be able to go and visit freely. And they are going to just cry their eyes out. And that's just my motivation right now. And I just wanted to share that.
All right, today was a catastrophic and utterly embarrassing day for the Republican Party. After Republicans in the White House, all the way down to Republicans in Congress, were forced to reckon with their own lies about the Iran war. The administration went into full spin mode right after the United States and Israel decided to launch joint strikes against Iran, and now the Republicans who spun those lies for Donald Trump are facing the consequences. They are either walking back what they said just yesterday, or now they are arguing with their own words from just yesterday. I'm not even joking here. Let's jump in with Senator Mark Wayne Mullen, who comes out and says, this is war. This is what happens in war. But this is after he has spent the past 2 days arguing that this is not a war. So then the reporters are like, wait a minute, did you just call it a war? And then he goes, no, that's not what I meant. I'm telling you right now, every single Republican is humiliated by the fact that they have to run defense for the shitty operation where the administration can't even keep their story straight. Let me quickly walk you through all of the inherent contradictions that we've heard from this administration. Everything from why we started this war has been very, very unclear. For example, first they said it was because of the nuclear capabilities of Iran, but then Donald Trump said he actually wants the Iranian people to be free and to replace their regime, so that's regime change. But they then said there was an imminent threat coming from Iran, but they then said that imminent threat was actually the past 40 years of terrorism that Iran has produced. So right there, they gave 4 to 5 different reasons, all contradicting each other at the same time. Donald Trump then said he does not want regime change. He then said that the regime should change. Donald Trump then said he wants to replace the Ayatollah, and he has a list of moderate people to replace the supreme leader. He then says, wait a minute, we killed all of them, so we actually don't have anybody to replace the supreme leader. Over and over, they have been contradicting their own intelligence on this, and right after Marco Rubio, which we'll talk about in 1 minute, right after Marco Rubio essentially says that Israel dragged us into this war, Donald Trump then goes out and contradicts Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio then came out today and contradicted himself from yesterday. I'm sorry if this is getting confusing, but the point that I'm trying to make is the administration officials are not only contradicting each other, but they're contradicting their own words from just yesterday. So if you want more of this, make sure you drop a like and subscribe for more breaking news content that just punches back against all of the BS we hear from this administration. Okay, let's start with Mark Wayne Mullen, literally yesterday, saying this isn't a war. Don't call it a war.
We gave them an opportunity for diplomacy to work, and it didn't. Is this not a war of choice? The president ran, and did the president not run on not starting a war with Iran? He ran on 2 things, ending wars. He's ended 8 of them. And he also ran on keeping America safe. This isn't a war. We haven't declared war. Everybody wants to say
I want to play the Secretary of Defense, who calls himself the Secretary of War, said today this is a war. Let's watch.
We set the terms of this war from start to finish. We didn't start this war, but under President Trump, we are finishing it.
Okay, so Mark Wayne Mullen yesterday decided the hill that he wants to die on is saying this isn't even a war. This isn't even a war at all. Now watch what he says after a closed-door Senate briefing. He walks out and he goes, this is war. And all the reporters go, wait a minute, weren't you the one that was saying this wasn't war?
Are there measures being taken not to eliminate other possible alternatives to leadership?
This is war, and we're taking out the threat. And if you're part of the threat, then you're a target. What we call not all the arrows, but going after the archers.
You'll concede this is war. You'll concede this is war.
We haven't declared war. They declared war on us, but we haven't.
War. Secretary Hicks.
We haven't declared.
Just now, you said this is war.
They called it war.
They called it war.
A year in, and we're in another war, and we've got American troops being killed. I think it's time for America to rip the Band-Aid off, and we need to have a serious conversation about what the happening to this country, and who in the hell are these decisions being made for, and who is making these decisions.
I honestly think we're nearing the end of MAGA.
So mom asked me, her son just joined the Marine Corps. Is he in danger of getting sent to Iran? Now, this particular Marine is still in the schoolhouse learning his MOS. So if you have loved ones or family members that join the Marine Corps, they're in boot camp, they just graduated boot camp, they're in SOI, MCT, they're in the schoolhouse. They are not even close to going to Iran. You also have to remember their MOS matters a lot as well. Obviously, if they're going to be in the infantry, they have a much higher probability of going and doing something like that. Or anything combat arms related, trackers, artillery, things of that nature. When something like this happens in Iran, in the Middle East, or anywhere on the planet, in this case Iran, almost every unit, at least in the Marine Corps, goes on high alert. What does that mean exactly? It means if they're not ready, they start getting a lot more ready. They're dotting all the I's and crossing the T's. They're making sure they got all the right people, all the right equipment. They're doing things like wills and power of attorneys. And these things have already been talked about. Take 1st Marine Division, which is based out of Camp Pendleton, California, as an example. The commanding general has a literal playbook, and it has to do with readiness. It has to do with proficiency, and it's all about warfighting. And the commanding general is going to be very clear about who he wants to go. I can tell you when 9/11 happened, we were told, go to the barracks, pack your gear, stand by. That'll give you the pucker factor times like 10,000. And for me, back in 2001, as a young sergeant, that gave me one hell of a reminder as to who we are, what we do, and what we're really here for as United States Marines and service members in general. See, because the fringe benefits are great, but you're here to fight and give your life for your country if that's what it requires. So if my son was an 0111 administrative clerk at school in Camp Johnson, North Carolina right now, I wouldn't be worried at all. If my son was an 0311 coming out of Infantry Training Battalion at Camp Pendleton, California, and they were going to go to the next unit that might be up for deployment in, like, I don't know, Camp Porno, I would be a lot more concerned. Drop a comment, let me know what you guys think.
So brothers and sisters, welcome back to the channel. I'm hoping that you are doing great from wherever you're watching this video. And welcome again to the channel. This is just something that I want to talk about. I think it's time that majority of the Americans get to understand that they should not risk the lives of their kids to go and join these fights because it's not worth it. And Black Americans are making it clear. Black Americans are making it clear that we don't want to be part of this. We are not part of this. Please leave us out of this because this is not our fight. And that's a message that Black Americans are trying to send to people. And they're trying to warn people, please do not join the military because this is not Black people's fight. I think they should just let this fight be for other people and for the group of those people that supported Mr. Donald Trump in all the decisions that he made. Because we are getting to see a pattern that is happening. Somebody is creating a problem. After creating a problem, they wait for another person to come and solve the problem for them. Yet, they're the ones who have caused this problem to begin with. So, brothers and sisters, Black folks are saying, for a couple of reasons, we are not joining this fight because this is not our fight. One, Iran doesn't have a problem with Black Americans. Iran doesn't have a problem. It has never been the problem with Black Americans because they share a part of oppression that has been going on for the longest time. They share a part of oppression that has been going on for the longest time. So Iran understands that there is a group of people in the United States that are Black, that somehow they are facing the problems that they have been having with the United States. And the same treatment that the United States have been giving Black people, it is the same treatment that the United States have been giving Iran, but all because of Israel. So there is a relationship, right? Because there is a pattern that these people are getting to see. There is a pattern that these people are getting to understand, and they see how it's going, and now they understand what's really going on. Somebody is saying that as a military veteran that has done 3 combat tours in Iraq on several occasions, when we did patrols, there were 3 of us in our squad, and they never messed with us. Some of the Iraqis even told us, we don't have a problem with you, soul brother. So they don't have a problem with Black folks. For the longest time, this is something that has been happening. Somebody also said that as an army brat and Afghanistan war veteran myself, I feel for my Black folk who joined to better their lives. I'm grateful to my father for joining, giving me the life I had growing up. I'm thankful that my own service has allowed me to live more comfortable now that I'm retired. However, I will not encourage anyone to join under this administration. Under this administration, we know who the United States is working for. Because to begin with, this was not a Black fight. To begin with, honestly, this was not a Black fight. It is a fight that they pushed, United States just pushed itself because it's working for a country, for another nation. Somebody is saying that back in the 80s, Iran released on the black hostages, and a woman, he said he did it because Americans don't treat blacks right. Told you. This is what happened. It's part of history because Iranians understand this part of history that United States have not been treating black people well. And when they try to look the relationship that they have with the United States, so when they see a black person, they see their own. So in short, Iran understands the challenges that black people have been going through for the longest time. Somebody said that on April 28, 1967, Cassius Clay, BKA Muhammad Ali, quote unquote, objected to being drafted into the United States Armed Forces and publicly stated that vehemently opposed the Vietnam War, exclaiming, "I ain't got no quarrel with the Viet Cong. No Viet Cong ever called me a nigger." That's true. He refused to fight for a country that oppressed black indigenous Americans. He also opposed war in general. This was the time period when Cassius Clay found Islam through his affiliation with Malcolm X and became Muhammad Ali. To continue, there has been a long-standing legacy of black indigenous Americans standing in solidarity with oppressed people under tyrannic governments throughout the world. So, what happened in Iran in 1979, as well as Iran's recent message to black indigenous Americans, could be considered a reciprocity. And so I think it makes sense. Somebody said that, how dare the US call anyone a bully? US is not real. Are the biggest bullies on the planet, and they are about to get what's coming to them. That's true. Well, you know that that's true. I did so research, and Iran struck passions, helped free black people from Egypt, and will play a big part in freeing of black in the last days. Plus, they will return their hearts back to the Most High. It's true. History has proven this. And we all are getting to see when all these things are happening. So, brothers and sisters, I really don't know where you're watching me from. I really want to know what you want to say. The last two comments that I want to read, and then I'll close it. So somebody said that the relationship goes back even longer than that. Family with those of us who are descendants of the biblical Israelites. Black when the Iranians were known as the Medes. And the Persians, they know our true identity and history before this last captivity. These women voted MAGA because they thought they was black people, but they found out that 78% of welfare programs helped them, not FBAs. The immigrants thought they were special and that the FBAs will be deported because they desperately distanced themselves from the FBAs that it will be us getting deported because they were white themselves. They were so wrong. Well, some FBAs think that this government won't do anything to us, but that has not been our history, but we will fight back if necessary. Brothers and sisters, please let me know what you think about this video. I'm your host and pray Zentai Jidek Stories, but until then, let me see you on my next video. Peace, love, and harmony. Salute.